Lots in my hair. Got lots of knots inside my hair again. Got lots of knots inside his hair again. Got lots of knots inside his hair, and when got lots of knots inside his hair again. He's got lots of knots inside his hair, and when Metronome Madness, y'all can't catch this. Okay, so today's the 3rd of July, 2025. I didn't plan on this being the video that this now is, by any means. But this is Little Red, the guitar. Johnson JG610R, 3/4 size. And I've got nylon strings on him because my name is Evan Strong. I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. This is In The Image Clothing Company music. I play nylon strings, okay? I do crazy things with nylon strings. Now, yeah, what I'm gonna actually show here, dude, man, bro, sister, whoever you are, is that we need internal rotation. So In The Image Clothing Company, for those of you who may not know, we are a clothing company, yes, but really the whole point for being a clothing company is to allow the human body to work. Okay, clothing's the only thing placed physically on us. We have a center line, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw naturally stabilizes the entire body on Earth's gravity, okay? Yeah, we just have the body that we do. Feet oppose the center, gripping arches inward, keeping us vertical. Now here's the thing. Internal rotation, okay? Closest to the body's own center line. The more external you get, meaning the hands are essentially the shoulders, okay? Follow the thumb, internally rotating versus externally rotating, okay? Internal is closer to the center of the body, okay? The feet are essentially the hips, same thing. Feet rotating inward, get the core activated. There really can actually never be a moment in life when the core is deactivated. The only reason it's there is to support the whole body. Yeah, check out the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. We give deep context on the anatomy of the human body and how to allow it to work. But when we play guitars, look at my forearm here, okay? The part of the arm between my hand and my elbow, okay? The forearm. Watch this. This is only the forearm's rotation by itself. External versus internal. Now my shoulder isn't moving at all, okay? It's just my forearm. The neutral wrist is straight out from the pinky. So I show smaller size guitars, okay? Because then we can keep that neutral wrist. You get big guitars and your body's so damaged, okay? And you just see it across the earth. It happens to every single human being ever, okay? Hence the 3/4 size guitar, and I usually have read the guitar here capoed anyway, so it's even shorter, okay? So, yeah, I came from playing tenor size ukuleles, and that's actually basically what this is. So, don't mind the noise. In the Image Clothing Company is raw and real, brother. But picture this forearm rotating, okay? Now picture a neutral right here, okay? Not external, but not internal. Neutral, up and down. Because guess what? You have a body of a guitar that's just up and down. Neutral, not internal and not external. Okay, neutral. Our saddle to the guitar, which is this white part that goes across, sometimes it's a different color, okay, but the strings come down and they break over the saddle, okay? The break angle is that angle that those strings come down and go into the bridge pins or the tie block, whatever it is on your style of guitar. That saddle angle needs to be exactly flat, bro, with the top of the guitar body, dude. Because there's only one neutral to the human being in every joint of the body, otherwise the whole body's damaged, okay? It's just a neutral, and it's here, in line with the body of the guitar, because also you would just hit into the body of the guitar, okay, if your saddle wasn't flat. So what I'm gonna do is, even though Little Red the guitar has a pretty darn even saddle angle, it's not enough. It's not enough, and I'm not perfectionistic in this, but I do only have one human body for my entire time on this earth, and there is only one way that it could ever work, and we're doing fine little motor skills when we play guitar. And our arm has to be in its only neutral position, always and forever, okay? Otherwise it's just damaging the whole body. You're building up just patterning, right? I mean, it travels into the shoulder, but then it travels from the shoulder down the spine into the hips. And then from the hips, it travels down your legs to your feet. So now you're sitting playing guitar and your feet are sticking in different directions, when there's a center line to the human being that always has to remain on this earth, okay? So, yeah, brother. What I'm doing here is taking the strings off Red the guitar, but not all the way, just loose enough to where I can get that saddle out down there. So I'm loosening the strings up a bit. And what I'm doing, if you can see which ones I am, oh shoot, dude, I went a little bit tighter there on the A before I went looser. I'm going back and forth, okay? So starting at the E, going to the E, going to the A, going to the B, going to the D, and going to the G. Just meaning even string tension across the guitar will then allow your guitar to last the longest that we can have it last, okay? If you're pulling on the strings and in different amounts of force, okay, across the fretboard from side to side, you can warp the wood of the fretboard. It's just wood. There might be a metal rod inside called a truss rod. This one has one of those that allows you to change the angle of the actual neck, and that's beneficial. So, anyway, yeah, I'm just loosening these enough, as I said, that we can slip the saddle out of the bottom down here, and I'll show. And I've actually filmed this before on Red the Guitar, doing a very similar adjustment, But there's no point in saying good enough. If you can just do something about it, do something about it. Because you can spend your time practicing with a guitar that's not quite set up ideal, and you're wasting your time, first off. But not only are you wasting your time, you're actually creating patternings in your body. Misalignments from the only way that your human body could ever actually operate, and then they can travel into the rest of your life. And so now, if you train your shoulder in a position that it just doesn't work in, out of its only neutral position, then you go through the rest of your life, and anything you ever do, you might be now stuck pretty deeply ingrained into a patterning of imbalance in your shoulder and in your hand and up your forearm and in your elbow and your wrist. Okay, bones build up unnaturally, and yeah, scar tissue. Okay, the body gets so damaged, and I've had so much experience with that. I've played so many guitars. I've had so many guitars. I've had guitars that were set up just so absolutely terribly. And I went through hell, dude. I know I'm not swearing there. It was a lot to go through. Okay, emotionally, made me very upset and discouraged, angry. Okay. And physically it caused a lot of pain, and that's just what it does. Your body can only ever work one way. Okay, there's only one way the human body could ever work, as I showed with the neutral position of the arm there. Okay, there's always and only ever a neutral to the human being in every part of it. So what I'm going to do, because this video was just definitely not planned by any means, I'll be back. I just got to go grab the tools I need for this. So stick around, it'll probably be about a minute. Okay, now it is most ideal, and yes, I am just sitting on the arm of this chair. I don't normally sit on chairs. Yeah, for the sake of the anatomy of the human body. And it's only working position. But check this out. I'm just grabbing the saddle here and pulling it out. Okay, take some tension off those strings. And no, this is not the quote-unquote right way to do this, if you will. Meaning, like, what I'm accomplishing is, yes, right, but the approach, right? I mean, there's actual tools to work on guitars with, and yeah. I just use what works, right? Because that's the whole point, is if it works, it works. And this wasn't working for my body, okay? Picture this. Your shoulders only have one neutral position they could ever sit in, okay? And if your hand is tweaked, your shoulder will just be dropped, okay? So you're strumming and you're just basically, not really, but in a sense, almost kind of, maybe, possibly, sort of close to doing like a workout for your arm. Okay, you're just doing this again and again and again and again and again. People who sit there and do curls with dumbbells, okay, barbells. Yeah, I mean, you're just moving your arm, okay? So you have to do it in its only neutral position, otherwise you're just doing it out of its only neutral position. You see what I mean? So here we go. This is the saddle Now, I've done this before, and I did it in a way that's not so ideal, okay? That's crazy to say, because that's the case. But I just use a little knife here. That's what I'm saying is, yeah, you go take your guitar to, they call them luthiers, somebody who just works on guitars, and they'll do it with the proper, if you will, tools, and they know what they're doing. They'll get the angles all correct, because they'll probably measure it out with other tools and things. But the big point with this is I've already done this to a degree before, and what I just noticed when I pulled it out is this end, the end that is higher, has just a little bit of a bump, is how I'm going to word it, on the bass side, right, the low E side, and then the A is next to that, because, yeah, I just didn't get it all smooth. Point is, though, that's the side that was higher. That's the side that I was showing needs to not be higher, because that's the side that puts your arm external and rotates your whole body down to your feet, okay? So, the other big thing is if you're singing, you have to keep your diaphragms evenly activated, okay? And if your body's rotated, your spine's rotated, as we said, the hand travels to the shoulder, through the spine, to the hips, down to the feet, and you are breathing with two lungs opposing the center line at your spine, and so there's just only one way the human body could ever work. So this is what I mean. Setup is more important than practice. I don't practice guitars, I just play, and that's, you know, just when you get better is when you're just doing the thing. But if you're playing a guitar that's just not set up correct, you're going to waste your time, okay? We advocate for a lot of things under In The Image Clothing Company. Proper breeding of standard-sized poodles, or any dogs, okay? Under In The Image Clothing Company poodles. Clothing that fits correct, right? Under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We spread the gospel of Jesus Christ in all that we do, but that's the point of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. Okay, there's 4 sides to us, but here on In The Image Clothing Company Music, we advocate for actually setting up your guitars. Otherwise, you are just wasting your own time. Period. And done. Okay? So, yeah. I mean, when we talk about the wrist up, you know, from the hand to the shoulder, there's only one neutral. There's only one in-line position for your fingers to track. Put your fingers out of their only neutral position and things just bind up and it doesn't work. There's only one in line. It's straight out from that pinky, and there you go. Your hand just works well. Otherwise, it just cramps and binds and everything's on a weird angle. Okay, there's only one neutral for the entire human body in every joint. And again, this is not the ideal way to do this. It is not using this little knife, because what you really want, if you can get it to be how we, you know, are aiming for it to be, is the bottom to be completely flat. You want this to sit very, very nice and flat against the bridge, which is that black part that this saddle sits into, okay? The slot there in the bridge, if we can get it to sit flat in there, that's the ideal, okay? You want that very clean, because yeah, if you have just something sitting underneath there, that in itself is a, yeah, imbalance, right? It's just gonna put one side up over the other. Now here's the thing. I have nylon strings on here, and the G string on nylon strings, which is the third one in from the high E, okay, the treble side, it's thicker than the rest of them are, except for maybe the very lowest string, which is the low E. But that string is on an end by itself, and the G is in between strings that are much smaller than it. So I do a little bit of compensation to the saddle, meaning put a little bit of a groove in it where that G string will go across. Otherwise, now you're creating an imbalance in your hand like this, okay? Your fingers are not even, and there's only one way the human hand could ever work, okay? Rounded, by the way. radius, by the way. The human hand has been around longer than any guitar could possibly claim to ever be, because the human hands are what were used to create guitars. The human hands are round. Sometimes guitars come with flat parts that our hands are touching. Okay, I've played many flat fretboard guitars, flat saddled guitars, flat nut guitars. Yeah, your whole body will be damaged, period, and done. Okay, so yeah, there's only one way the human body could ever work, dude. No opinion of mine, but it is a company of mine, in the Image Clothing Company. Okay, so yeah, now when we tighten the strings up, same thing as I was saying with loosening them evenly, you know, back and forth across the fretboard, if you will, okay, across the headstock, if you will. You just need to keep fairly even tension, otherwise you'll have uneven tension being pulled on your guitar that can potentially warp the wood. Okay. Yeah, when I talk about In the Image Clothing Company music and I say what we do here, when I'm on the other four, well, no, there's only four, so the other three sides of In the Image Clothing Company, I say, I show the sizing and setup of guitars to not alter the human body, because the hands are essentially the shoulders, as the feet are essentially the hips. There's only one way the human body can ever work. The human body can only ever work activated as a whole. Anywhere any of it goes, all of it comes, right? Everything has a role to play. We're doing fine little motor skills with our hands, and we can't alter them from their only working position. You know, I say things like this, and this is what I mean, is this video here, really. I mean, we've done videos up until now as well, you know, before this one. So yes, I already have many times, and thoroughly shown the sizing and setup of guitars to not alter the body. But this is one of those, this is what I mean, right? So this is, if you're coming from any of the other three sides of In the Image Clothing Company, and you're like, well, so he says he shows how to size and set up guitars. Let's see what he's talking about. Here you go. This is a video where I'm doing just that. Okay. The 3rd of July, 2025 is today's date. I'm turning 26 on Saturday, bro, on the 5th of July. Yeah, dude. So, what I'm doing is just getting some tension, okay, fairly evenly tightening across the fretboard. Nylon strings have quite a bit of stretch to them. They're just stretchy material, okay, meaning material that has a lot of stretch that you can put into it before it actually gets to its like end point, okay? And so it does take a fair amount of stretching when you do first put nylon strings on to get them to then actually stay. Okay. So CD. Oh shoot. E. Okay. G. C, D, E. I might not have said that right. In the right order. So, I'll tune him. You can listen to the birds chirp. There's a baby robin right there. Keep in mind, this is a steel string design guitar that has nylon strings on it. Okay. So this isn't how this guitar would normally really work, if you will. It works fine, but these aren't the strings that are designed to be used quite this way. I've had to tie little knots in the bottom to stick them down into where those bridge pins hold the strings in. Okay. That's that baby robin tweeting right there. A robin is a bird. For those of you that may not have robins where you're at on the earth. They're a red-breasted bird, but when they're mature, and this one still has kind of spots where the red will come in. Okay, again, nylon strings stretch a fair bit for a little while, maybe even a couple days, especially with brand new strings. These strings have already been stretched to their full length, and so putting them back on, they won't take quite as long as a new set of strings would. But, so here's what I've done, right? I sanded down that saddle. I didn't even look at it before I put it back on. But I put it back on. Okay, nah, that's great. Better than it was for sure. So, yeah, we want it just completely flat. And keep in mind the thickness of the strings, because if you've got a steel string guitar, your bass strings are going to be so much thicker than your treble strings. And so completely flat might actually mean slightly lower on the saddle when it comes to the bass side, okay? To actually keep the strings flat because their thickness is different. See what I mean? But, yeah, and then I also, as you saw, did a little bit to that G part on the saddle, which is this string here. Okay, third one in from the treble side, like I was saying. So, I'm gonna play something at least. I mean, it works, dude. Yeah, it's the same guitar. It better still work, right? But what I mean is, I'll show you what I mean. Give me just a second here. Okay, so here's the thing, is it might still slip out of tune like I'm saying, but here you are, a human being in life, doing things, playing guitar, okay? Here you are with an improperly set up guitar, improperly if you will, and here you are in life. You see what I mean? Normal, normal. Improper, improper. Okay? There's just only one way the human body could ever work. So so, dude, it rips, bro. Yeah, look up just how to string guitars. Okay, either nylon or steel string. I'm pretty sure there is still a video for both types of guitars on In the Image Clothing Company Music. Yeah, but right, I show, unless everything's just being pulled exactly straight in line at the headstock and then entirely straight down at the bottom here at the bridge where the strings go in, then have things slightly be pulled out up here and then tie knots down here to where you can have it be slightly pulled out, just so it's doing the same thing on both sides. Because if the strings are pulling out, then you're using your musculature to pull them in, and the human body only works in line, as we say, right? Doesn't matter what we say necessarily, but that's the truth. So, okay. Yeah, bro, it just feels good. When you can just feel like you're really holding your guitar properly and strongly, if you will. Then that's good. Like sitting like this, right? You want to just be able to sit your arm down. Okay, set your arm down. If you have your strings, meaning your saddle, because look at this, my forearm is on my saddle, okay? When I'm just like resting here, it's just how it is, okay? You're seeing it happen right now. What I'm saying is if your saddle is imbalanced, your forearm will just rotate and take your shoulder with it. There's a robin with a worm in its mouth. And inside your forearm, there's just two bones, okay, like this, but in each arm, and they rotate over each other, okay, and you can probably kind of tell just by looking. Holy noise, dude. So when you lay your arm down on your guitar, if it's going to just roll the bones in your arm because the thing's just uneven that you're placing your arm on, being the saddle of your guitar that you've just seen me adjust to a more proper angle, okay, then we just don't want that. We don't want any imbalance. Here's a wasp. We want it to be even. I mean, there's just the top wood of the guitar, right? If your arm's against that, and then it hits a saddle that's uneven, now it's all sorts of twisting going on. There are so many critters right now. Yeah, so anyway. What? I'm not upset with you. I just don't know what you're saying for sure. This robin, it looks like it's got an afro. Its feathers are like kind of poofy. That's not so common to see. And then it's just walking around with a worm in its mouth just tweeting. Yeah. Okay, read the guitar. Oh, shoes! I'm not done playing. I was just gonna say read the guitar's out of tune and then kind of wrap up the video. But as I twisted the guitar like that, I caught the E and kind of pulled it off the side of the fretboard. I'll play a little bit more of something. You know, then it'll be documented as of today's date, which I said, the 3rd of July, 2025 Robin. Yeah. Where the setup of Red the Guitar is, and also just me playing some stuff because I'm so good. I mean it. I do. Yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. Shoot! Now I don't want to touch the strings again because I touched my head and it's like sweaty a little bit. Just because it's Utah summers and it's like 90 degrees, give or take, each day. So, there you go. Little Red the Guitar. What that was, though, that whole, like, me put my hand on my head like that is humility. Meaning being humbled by, yeah. You know, you can complain and complain that it's hard to play guitar. You can have physical pain from playing guitar. You can be upset about whatever you want. If you don't set up your guitar correct, you're not gonna have a good time no matter what, ever. There's only one way the human body could ever work. Yeah, there's only one way to set up guitars, to allow the body to work while we play them. Yeah. And yeah, so there you go. Shout out to Mr. Robin, because he's been hanging out. Maybe it's a she. I'm not sure. Yeah, talk about humbling. This is my 21st guitar. And you know, I mean, it's just taken a lot for me to learn what's actually needed. Guitars, in a lot of ways, as I've said many times, under In The Image Clothing Company content, are what have helped me be able to understand the human body's anatomy, to be able to found In The Image Clothing Company, okay? To know how to allow the human body to work. Yeah. This is what you need. It's that whole, I can tell you that, right? When I talk about where clothing sits on the human body, when I talk about how to lace and tie shoes, when I talk about things like removing tags from clothing, there are certain things that I can speak for every human on the earth with. Meaning, there's only one way that this can happen. And I've struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled enough with it to where I've learned what I need to, okay? So, take my kindness for weakness. See what happens after that. Now, it's a song I wrote. But, take my experience and learn from it. So you don't have to do it yourself. Okay? Oh, wow. Yeah, take my experience and learn from it. And I'll do the same. Because because I've got a lifetime of In The Image Clothing Company. I used to say so often, even a couple years ago, before In The Image Clothing Company was ever a thing, I've got a lifetime of songs to write, and I do. You know, because I say it like this, you know, with no pride, I could write an album every day. I literally just watched this adult robin stick that worm in the baby robin's mouth. This has been quite the video. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you'll never have a good time with this instrument if it's damaging your body. So, some big things though too, man, are just the same amount of rounding to the saddle as the frets and as the nut, if you can get that to be that way. Sometimes it's a little bit more challenging to actually grind those nut slots in a way that's really that round, unless you have proper tools. But maybe you have proper tools, or maybe you have somebody who will work on your guitar for you. Do the compensation to that G string, dude, because you have to. Otherwise, your hand that only ever works how it does is just altered. Okay. It just is what it is. There's only one way the human body could ever work. Don't take my word for it, but I explain things so thoroughly and in such depth that there's no dispute, no possible opinion. Truly. I mean, that's really what In The Image Clothing Company does, I guess is how we'll word it for this. Okay, so again, yeah, my name is Evan Strong. I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. I play guitar and I do it well. You can say things like that if it's true. Yeah. That's nuts. I got this guitar for $45 with a case at the Deseret Industries thrift store. Okay. Yeah. You just need to be even, dude. I mean, there's just two sides to your body. You can only ever do one thing. And this is how we allow it to do that. I'll say this too, because then I think I've pretty much run over just about everything in guitar setup in this one video. Okay. When it comes to the, I'm going to set this capo down so that I have the ability to tune this without the capo on the headstock if I decide to again in this. The neck, like I was saying, the truss rod, it allows alteration to the neck this way. There's the rod up here, right? There's the head of the bolt for it. It just tightens or loosens a big metal rod with threads on it, right? Like tightening a screw. And you can alter the neck. The point is, though, we want the neck to be as straight as we can possibly get it. Okay? Just even this way, even this way. Okay, so across the saddle, same height, all the way up and down the neck, same height / angle. And there you go. I will say this as well. It's like I just got a massage and I'm all relaxed out, dude. If you're having the angle of your saddle just incorrect, again, no opinion of Evan Strong, because there's just only one way the human body could ever work. Yes, truly. Zero dispute that anybody could ever possibly claim to come up with. Anybody who's been playing guitars longer than I've been alive and setting it up a different way than I show, I don't care. There's only one way the human body works and ever could, okay? And you got to look at it all the way down to its extremities, to the feet, and gripping arches evenly, keeping the feet actually pointing the same direction and supporting your body, keeping your core constantly activated, because that's, again, the only reason why it's there. Okay, keeping the shoulders even, keeping the body in its only neutrals and every joint within it, otherwise just damaged chronically, okay, just meaning it can potentially last throughout the entirety of your life. This is as real as it gets. This is why it's a fourth of In The Image Clothing Company, In The Image Clothing Company music, okay? I know what I'm talking about. Truly. If your saddle is angled down to the high E, okay, you're going to be pinching the guitar body into your rib cage. It's going to hurt. You're not going to be able to breathe on the right side of your body. You're only going to breathe on your left side, so your spine will twist, your head will turn left, and you'll be playing like this. But if your guitar is just too long anyway, you're going to already be kind of like this, okay? But there's only one neutral on Earth's gravity, dude. No opinion, so just is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't like really even played guitar in a long time, bro, so. And even then, when I had and did and do, I just mess around, so. so don't believe me, bro, but that's the only way you can actually set up a guitar without altering your body. Okay, so there you go. Man, I'm so glad that Little Red the guitar here is set up well now. Yeah, man, I mean, I can just look down the neck of this guitar, dude, and I mean, it just looks so good. I mean, it just looks so even, right? I mean, man. I mean, that's what you want, right? I mean, you're playing this thing. Tiny, tiny little fine motor skills. It should be, this little baby robin star right there. It should be as even as we can get it, dude. When you're doing stuff like this, this video will be as long as it ends up being, because this could be the only video on In The Image Clothing Company that shows the sizing and setup of guitars. And then when I say that that's what we do on this fourth of the company, it's like, yeah, there's one video and it's thorough, you know? That's a good thing. So, but check this out. I'll get him pretty well in tune. The thing is, if you're, I mean, I don't want to sound prideful at all, like, oh, I'm so good, but in a sense, I mean, I am good. And when you're picking really fast like this, right, just a lot of what I was doing earlier, but check out my right hand. I mean, just picture all that's going on here and picture that neutral wrist, right? Yeah. Right, lots of little tiny fingers back and forth, dude, so quick. I mean, I'm quick. I can pick really fast, and what I'm saying is there's only one inline position, and it's the neutral wrist straight out from the pinky, but then there's only one inline rotation for the forearm, otherwise that will just cramp your body as well, okay? So This is what I mean. I don't care who it offends, who thinks that I'm just trying to be right about something, who's been playing guitars for 40 plus years. I do not care. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion, there's no preference. And this is what I mean. I hit stuff so hard and so bold under In The Image Clothing Company because, like I just said a minute ago, we'll do it so thorough to where there's no questioning. You can't dispute this. Look, my hand only closes here. You get a hand out of its only neutral position, and everything's just on an angle that's like so randomly not straight. And all the musculature to the tip of your fingers and tendons and everything, right, that moves your fingers, it stems up here at your elbow, okay? And so it has to be in line all the way, otherwise it just won't work. And same with the left hand, okay? Yeah. That's it, dude. That's it. So and I've been bold about this since well before founding In The Image Clothing Company. I was talking with people that I played guitars with about this stuff, and you know, at times I was saying things and I wasn't quite right yet. You know, it doesn't matter who's right, but I just mean I didn't have it quite correct. I didn't fully understand exactly how it needed to be yet at that time, at some of those times. But you know, then when I did have it actually like this, I mean, I was playing guitars with people who wouldn't set their guitars up correct, and they'd just be struggling and, you know, cussing at the guitars, massaging out their hands and forearms. Nothing to do with me, but this is the case for everybody. You should never, legitimately, you shouldn't have to massage out your hands or your forearms or your fingers or try to stretch your fingers. Your fingers only ever work in line, by the way. It's like when I talk about stretch within clothing. Stretch in clothing goes the opposite direction of the only way that muscles could ever work. Muscles only contract, meaning get shorter. Okay, every muscle in the body only gets shorter for operation to happen in the body. So, yeah, I mean, this is the only way you'll ever do it. And you'll never have to massage or you know, stretch or loosen up your body from playing guitar. The body's designed to work. If it's just in its only ranges of motion, it will. If it's not, then it just can't. Okay? So, there you go. I love this. And our videos, at least up until today's date, some of our videos, like on the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, where I just discuss the anatomy of the human body and clothing, right? And how clothing truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. Some of them are so long because I don't want people to come after me thinking that they have some kind of way of doing things that's an opinion that is better than what I'm doing. There's no comparison, no competition. I'm just showing things as they are, and you cannot discuss something this thoroughly, explain it this thoroughly, show visuals this thoroughly, and have it not be true, okay? There's people across the entirety of the earth playing guitars, okay? Any continent, any country that somebody has a guitar, there's people with guitars. And there has been for thousands of years. There's only one way to set it up, though, to allow the body to work. And it's this way. And I'm not trying to take credit by any means, but that's the whole point of making these videos and sharing these things is people are either in physical pain or they're allowing their bodies to work. People are either just in turmoil in all the ways that comes, or they're allowing their bodies to work. That's it. No possible dispute, no, it's just nuts. So when I say In The Image Clothing Company is going to be my lifelong thing, when I say I'm going to be a professional guitarist, when I say these things, I'm not making claims. It's like on In The Image Clothing Company poodles. We don't have any standard size poodles yet. But I say, right, we're going to be breeding purebred standard poodles and doing all the things that we do under In The Image Clothing Company poodles, poodle parade events, right? And I don't have them yet, but I know things to come before they come in the times that I do. It's not about me, it's about God And that's what In the Image Clothing Company is about. In the image of Jesus Christ is who and how our bodies are designed by and through. And that's what this is. Showing how to size and set up guitars is showing how to let the gift from God, being our human bodies, work the only way that they ever could. Okay? So thank you. Thank you. Little Red the guitar, man. That's what this is, who this is, if you will. This video could live on for literally ever and be just as valid forever. That's what's crazy about it. So what I've done here with the E's is just wind them the opposite direction around the pegs as the other strings. As you can see there, all the other strings come from the insides, but the E's come from the outsides, because then it just keeps them on the same angle. So thank you.